All right, we're live with Kassy Havel. So Kassy, today we're going to talk about Cabo and a little bit, I would say perspective, but also a little bit about your background. So tell the U-Crew world and the Sarah world a little bit about Kassy. Where are you from? Married, kids, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm from a small town in Texas, halfway between Austin and Houston. I'm married. We have 4 kids together. We're actually empty nesters this year. All kids have moved out. One of the 4 actually bought a house this year. 2 are still in college. Yeah, I mean, just great things are happening at the Havel household.
So you got a lot more time freedom or what?
I do have more time freedom, but I also, with this industry, I have the more flexibility to travel and do things for my family that I wasn't able to do before. I was a nurse for 24 years and was very stuck to a schedule and had to miss a lot of things when the kids were growing up. So it's kind of interesting that I chose to wait, I guess, until the kids were almost out of the house before I opened my mind to the possibility of not being shackled to a job where I worked holidays and weekends and overnights and you name it, I did it.
So how long ago did you find network marketing?
About 3 years ago. I had done other network marketing companies.
When was the first time you found network marketing? How long ago?
Probably about 12 years ago. I was a kidnapper. They offered products for cheaper if you joined them. And I wanted the cheaper chicken. So that's what I got.
So 12 years ago, it wasn't really about opportunity, just the product?
No, actually I was, the opportunity kind of put me off, like having to talk to my friends or trying to encourage them to purchase from me kind of put me off. I don't know why, because in the nursing profession, you have to talk to people about believing in what you're saying they should do for their health. And if you don't do a good job, then they don't follow the doctor's orders and therefore their health could be detrimental. So it's not like it was any different than what I did, but for whatever reason in my head, I made it seem, I felt like it was different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it was makeup and I don't wear makeup.
Just naturally pretty. Okay. So 12 years ago, you found the profession on the product side. What happened to change to the business side?
I was very unhappy in what I did. The healthcare system, when Guy and I were in our mid-30s, I felt like it kind of failed me. Guy got a neurological condition, an autoimmune neurological condition in our mid-30s, where I went to work one day, and when I came home, my whole life changed. He wasn't able to stand on his own. He couldn't track with his eyes. His blood pressure was 200s over 100s and then dropping down to 60s over 40s. His temperature would jump up to 105 and then drop down to 94. He just wasn't capable of maintaining things. We spent, a good portion in the hospital and then spent about 8 months in PT, OT. And honestly, he was able to go to work, but cognitively, he didn't completely come back. After being at work all day, he would come home and just be completely checked out. And having 4 teenagers, that's really not a good idea to have one parent that's checked out and the other one that works 80, 90 hours a week. And, really modern medicine just told us you should be thankful for what you have. It could have been way worse. And that was it. That was the end. They were like, there will be no change. And I think that was the point where I realized I was working in an industry that it was not what I thought it was. Being on the other side, I just hadn't been, other than having kids. I'd never really had my health challenged. And to feel what other people feel about the healthcare industry is that, there are very much limits. They rely on a chemical to, mostly prescriptions to change or Band-Aid something, but they never actually get down to the root problem. And, I resented the industry. And then, over time, healthcare just became something I totally did not want to be a part of anymore. And that's why all of a sudden my mind was open to a different possibility.
So 3 years ago, someone approached you in the business side?
Yeah, I was actually looking at nutrients specifically. And when I saw and I did a lot of the research into the science and stuff, I knew that there were things out there that could help Guy. And why would I not make a business out of it? If I was, if I was helping my husband and I was still doing what I felt like would help people with their health, why wouldn't I make money from it? I'd been doing it for 24 years.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the good training part of this so far is that, 12 years ago, you seen product and then something happened in your life that changed your perspective and decision-making process in your life. Two things. One happened inside the medical community where you thought you got a nursing degree to go help people. And then you realize the medical community a lot of times just puts a Band-Aid on, throws their hands up. And then secondly, you realize there's a lot of people that were sick, but also wanted more freedom, right? I know there had to be some kind of freedom attached to the product that you wanted, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So you started with that was not Viseo, that was another company, right?
That was not Viseo. And, the biggest problem with that company was, the growth just wasn't there. It was the same problems with healthcare I found in that company, where it was a lot of product and there was not a simplistic way to share. It just, I just kind of felt like I was doing the same thing in healthcare. I felt like, it was good, but there was something better. Just like I felt like in healthcare when I started looking at supplements, like I knew there was something more. This couldn't be it. And that's really when Viseo found me.
It's the same with the job, right? You start working a job and you realize there's something better out there in the Department of Freedom, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you started with Viseo how long ago?
About 16 months ago, about 16, 17 months ago.
And from there, what happened?
Well, the products worked for Guy. I mean, when I first initially did it, I was super excited about CBD because I just learned all the information about CBD. I knew that it was something that touched every single cell and it could be life-changing for people. But when we put Guy on the neuro, all of a sudden my husband was back. All the things that they had told me the supplements would do at the previous company, it actually did it in Viseo. Like the other ones didn't make a change for him. But in 2 weeks, I got my husband back. And that changed everything for me.
Wow. So you started giving, what product was it, or was it a combination?
It was neuro. We started with the neuro, and I noticed a huge change in him. And then when we added the core, I mean, he won't go a day without core. He might miss neuro here and there just by accident. But if he doesn't take core in the morning, by noon, he's rushing home to take it because he just feels completely different.
Wow. So what did you see with Guy on the neuro?
So his cognition was different. Like we could actually have conversations after he got home from work. He also had a lot of tremors from the Guillain-Barré, and he no longer had those. He could work outside and hadn't been able to do that in years because he would get shakes and he'd be down just because he was exhausted. He just couldn't do the things he wanted to do. He was really, truly living to do his work life, and everything else just didn't exist.
Wow. So really it's just the liposomal technology got the nutrients to the brain where other products can't. And then that builds your, what we call the word belief. That's very important for this business. And you shot all the way up to Blue Sapphire really fast and grew a massive team. And so, now that you're qualified for Cabo, there's a story inside the story. How did it feel for you? And when you seen Cabo, what was your thought process there?
Well, I mean, obviously, as soon as it was New York, even, when they said New York, I was like, I'm going to be on that trip. And here's the thing about having, goals. you can say it's what you want, but if you don't actually do the activities to get there, it still just remains something that you want. It still just remains a goal that is written. You have to make changes in your behavior to get there, because I obviously wasn't doing, adding 40 people into my business in the amount of time. I did that initially, but then I don't know.
Slow down.
I did. Well, it wasn't even, I mean, yes, I obviously slowed down, because if you look at my business, you see that I slowed down. But a lot of it was I questioned myself. Like, I started questioning not the products and not the business, but my ability to lead people, which I have found that that's kind of a normal progression in this industry, because once you start bringing people in and people are relying on you, you have to step up. And so my next fear was fear that I wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. And so I spent a bulk of the I don't know, probably month 5 to about, I don't know, month 14, living in that fear, wondering if I was good enough. And a lot of that was tackled by self-development. So a lot of work was done pre-Cabo on myself. And
well, I think too, here's my perspective. In the action stage, we have the energy stage. Mm-hmm. And then when you get out of the action stage in that phase, then the energy goes down. But then what happens, we get into isolation. And when we get in isolation in our own head without the positivity around us and actually creating, God created us to create. He is the creator. Yep. We get by ourselves, and our self-talk is 80% of the talk we have with ourselves. And in that isolation stage, it can get pretty negative. Yep. And then you get into a non-creative state. And when you get there, it's normal for people. That's why God made us here, to plow the field and create and go out and impact and do things. And that's why He put the seed of greatness inside of us. And it's normal. But what I'm impressed with, Kassy, you got out of that. But for people that are going to watch this, what did you do to get out of that? Or was it someone else and Lauren Nelms that got you out of it?
Well, I mean, obviously the collaboration with Laura definitely changed my thoughts on my ability to lead, because when you have somebody that you're a part of their realm, and you see the possibilities, and you see the growth in that person, it's much easier to see that you can do it. Like you said, the isolation was removed because Laura and I started moving together, and I got to see things change in her, which lit up my heart and my soul and my mind, and the negative started to go away.
Yep. And I think in this profession that a lot of people go, I got to go find hundreds of people. And right here is a perfect example. You found one.
Exactly.
That changed the current situation you were in, and that going forward changed the whole process. And heck, you sponsor like, I don't know, 40 people in like a short amount of time, right? How long was it?
Well, I mean, the final push was the final 25 was pretty short. I would say in a month and a half. And the last probably 16 happened in like 3 weeks.
So what did that tell Kassy?
That I can do anything if I just do it. I mean, the hardest thing is just doing it. I mean, that's the full battle for me, is making that first step. The others come, because in this industry, especially this team, you have people that will rally around you. You just have to make the decision. And that is the full battle, I feel like, because there are other people that help you along once you make the decision, but no one can make that decision for you.
Well, what I see with Kassy, you're a powerful woman. Not only that, though, people are attracted to positivity and a smile and fun. Kassy is I would say, if I was to describe Kassy, fun, energetic, and always positive. And which is quite interesting, because, the outside people can say that, but we can all get negative, right?
Yes.
And hide it from the world. But, what I always told you, you're a powerful recruiter, one of the most powerful recruiters I've seen. and you just got to use it, because God, God's going to attract people to you if you're willing to go out there and share. And you did that, and you proved that. And it was beautiful to watch you and Laura do it together. And, and so many times in this profession that we looked up at the person above us that's a bigger leader to try to get us going. But this story was so awesome, and shows the beautiful part of this profession, that you look down and she pushed you up. And that's what's so amazing about this profession we don't talk enough about, is the teamwork aspect. And the most powerful part is that when there's one vision, you're in line. And if one person catches that vision, and then two, you can see how powerful you and Laura did it, like a week apart.
Yes.
And she fired up Kassy, and it was awesome to watch her meet. Another thing I was impressed with, a lot of times in this profession, I see someone powerful like Kassy, but then for a long time, they won't use the leverage they have at their ability to use in this profession, or that's sitting there for them. And what I watched Kassy do, she finally started using Francois on every single call. And this is for anybody that watches this. Francois, myself are here to help you. We're not going to, pressure you to use us. But what I watched Kassy do, she used Francois over and over and over, and they became this powerful twosome that were just getting on calls and sign up everybody. What was it like? You were in for almost a year and a half, and then you started using Francois. I think it was literally the first time, right?
Yeah, I hadn't done any calls with Francois. When I first joined, you and I ran together for a solid month, and that's when I hit Blue Sapphire. And again,
you threw me the curve.
You think, how did I not know that was the same thing? I just do the same thing that I did that showed me success back then. But no, we overthink things, that my brain that can't see everything got in the way.
Mm-hmm. So you started using Francois, and what made you do that? What changed, you think?
Well, honestly, the negative talk in my head told me, and you say it all the time, I always I don't want to bother you. You have other people. Like, those are the things that go on in my head. And, you pushed some of my buttons, obviously. And I need that, because that's the thing, you have to have somebody that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, or you stay in what you think is comfortable. But obviously negative talk for me is not comfortable. It's just normal. And that's what's so sad, is that we choose to live in that part versus it was just uncomfortable for a minute. And then it just became normal.
What was awesome too, though, is that, I would put things in perspective to you, and you took it like a champ. And instead of getting more negative, you use it as something to kick you in the butt, and you went out and started producing. And now you're going to Cabo, free trip for 4 days. I mean, you've seen what the company put out with top 5 restaurant in the world, 150-foot yacht, or whatever you want to call that thing. It's huge. Yep. Plus all-inclusive resort. What does that feel like now, Kassy?
Oh, it feels amazing. And also it taught me, running for Cabo taught me the daily activities that I need to do, which, also continue to change my business. Whereas some of the leadership problems I had was I didn't know what to do. Like, not because you hadn't said it, but because it didn't penetrate. For whatever reason, my brain didn't let me do it. And then when you do it over and over and over again, you're like, duh. I mean, like, I knew that day one. Like, I went through UCREW University. Like, I know, but you don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, there's no excuse now for Kassy not to be diamond. So,
that's true.
I can just send you this recording whenever that you get out of the daily activity. So, we're super blessed to have Kassy, her smile, her energy, her joy, her happiness on this team, and her team is blessed as well. I guess some people are going to watch this. We have a month to go, right?
Right.
We're like a month and 4 days here coming up, and they're gonna watch this and be like, great. They're happy for Kassy. What would you tell them to do this last 34 days that you did to get qualified?
So I would definitely utilize, your uplines. I would strategically do that. And I would also say, I mean, like one of the things that I did was create belief in the people that I spoke to. And that was by utilizing Francoise or Lauren or even Laura, having someone else, having that third party. You think that you're the one that's creating the belief, but honestly, you're just the connector. And it was so hard for me to wrap my mind around that because I think my ego was in the way and I thought that I was, I could be the one to do it. Well, you can't. You can't.
Actually, here's what I'll tell you. People that love people that like to talk a lot, they want to do all the talking.
Right.
They want to be the big personality, and you feel like, I love talking to people. I love talking. Then I'm going to do all the talking. In this profession, it is like the worst thing you could do because they look at Kassy. They're like, I can't be as big personality as her. I'm not that outgoing. I'm not that powerful and energetic and all this stuff. So once you pass the baton and you follow that system of third party, it can be a complete stranger and they're going to sign up at a higher rate. And that's what you showed. That's what Laura showed. And so I guess the moral of the whole getting qualified for Cabo would be follow the system, do three-way calls, right?
Yep, exactly.
And
yeah, I mean, that's the only way to do it fast. There's no other way to grow a business fast is to leverage.
Yeah, and if you look what you did 30 in about a month, yep, that shows everyone that anyone can really do 40 in 34 days.
Exactly.
Heck, I mean, I think you could do it in 2 weeks if you had massive action. And that's another thing. I mean, Kassy didn't stop. She was relentless every single day. She had Francois on the phone like 4 or 5 times a day. That's awesome. And anybody can do that. I mean, I think with Francois, what I watched here and the level of growth Francois is at, and if you do 10 calls, she's going to get you 6 or 7 minimum.
Right.
I mean, she's so amazing on a phone call. And that's what I would tell the team and your team and anybody else. I mean, if they're listening to Lauren talk or, Laura or anybody on Kassy's team, Kassy's becoming that person by listening too. So like when you put Kassy on the phone, guess what? She's an extension of these other leaders that she's listened to over and over in the ear, right? While she's on mute. So that's the powerful part of this. It's not only leverage, but it's on the job training, because you're on mute. You become that person. What I believe is you become a good storyteller and delivering the information. Look, network marketing, all it is education. If I was showing this business to Kassy, I just educate her on the company and what the company has to offer, but I educate her on what I was feeling. And I believe 99% of the people are feeling the same, what I wanted, freedom in some version. So now we got to educate them. How do we go from want more freedom to making the decision, and what happened after that, and what directed us here to say yes to this company? And Kassy did that over and over and over, and now she's going to Cabo. How does it feel to be going with your bestie, Laura, as well?
Oh, that's just icing on the cake. I mean, obviously I have a lot of besties that are on here. I mean, Laura is, I gained her through this industry. And so, it's another reason why I love this industry is because it's brought so many amazing people like you and Francoise and Lauren and Jared and Lindy and I were friends beforehand. And it's just exciting for all of us to be together. Like, it wouldn't be the same if Laura wasn't with me. It definitely wouldn't be the same.
Yep. And, I think to end this Zoom and interview, you're one of the people that have been to GoPro. What's your perspective on GoPro since you've been?
Well, I think, for me, that I went to GoPro in December of last year. And honestly, I went because it was in Vegas. I didn't really go for GoPro. That was Lindy being a true mentor and knowing that I needed the party to get me excited about it. But once I got there, the thing that GoPro changes is your idea of this industry, because even though I was successful, with Viseo, and I was sharing it. I didn't have belief in the industry as a whole. I believed in Viseo, but I only believed in Viseo. I thought all the other companies, you know, I mean, obviously I do think Viseo is the best, but the industry as a whole, I didn't believe in it. You know, when people ask you, oh, is this a scam, you know, whatever. And the whole time before I was thinking, well, probably with other companies, but not this one. You know, it wasn't about the industry. And that's what's Eric Worre changed for me, is he changed my ideas and my thoughts and my opinions of the industry as a whole. And when that changes, when you're speaking to people, they hear it, they feel your passion with it. I mean, I've had tons of nurses that when I tell them my story of the transition from healthcare into the industry, before they were like, that's great for you. Now, when I tell them my story, they can feel it from me. And they're like, oh, wow. So, you know, I mean, it just changed everything in my delivery, in the way that I spoke, and the ease of being able to talk about the business, because I always did really struggle with that. So I would say for me, it changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest, the longest route or pathway in this profession is from the head to the heart.
Yep.
And how you find that is one word: belief.
Mm-hmm.
I know we throw that word out, but if you just dissect what Kassy just said, she went into a room where she thought Viseo, she's in Viseo, she's in this little bubble, network marketing, but she went into this room and her belief expanded because she's seen how powerful network marketing is. She's seen people making millions of dollars, heck, some a month. And she's seen, wow, this profession has all these professionals in it, all these people that are doing well, but all of these people that are inside the profession. Her belief grew, and it just got into her, the profession got into her heart as well, Viseo. And it's a very powerful synergistic effect when them two things come together. More people will follow you off of passion, they will off information. And
Agreed.
if you can go out and do self-development, you can go out and do the action will lead you to the people, and then the people will lead you to the stories. And when you get the stories, you get the belief through the fulfillment of the impact, just like it happens to Guy. You know, the Guy's story impacts my heart, which what does it do? It expands my belief in the company, the profession, and that's what you have heard right here from Kassy. So GoPro Virtual is going to be very powerful. Heck, they don't have to spend all the money to go to Vegas either. They get to do it on their computer, which makes it cheaper, right? I mean, heck,
yes.
When you went, it was probably what, $500 a ticket?
Yes. Yes.
And that was just to get in the door. That wasn't to get to Vegas, right?
Right. Then so the flight, the hotel,
the partying.
The party.
So
well, Kassy like doesn't go somewhere where she doesn't party. I mean, I can go in the kitchen and have a party.
So it was like $2,000 probably total, right?
Yes. Yeah. Easy.
So here, the $295 is super worth it, right?
Yes.
Not only that, they get a free product right now, Eternal CBD. So really, they're paying half the price of $295, and they're getting $100-something product for free on top of that. So, well, Kassy, I knew this is going to be powerful. We love you. We're proud of you. Super blessed to have you, and can't wait to ring in the new year at Cabo.
Thank you, Ricky. I'm super excited too. Thanks for having me on.
Love you, girl. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.